You just open your legs, push off with your feet into the air, then land on your feet. Such a simple move. How hard can it be? This is the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Well, if it's that simple, I wonder why there aren't enough people doing the split steps in Pickleball. Even at the 4.5 level, a lot of players are still not split stepping consistently in their games. In this video, I'm going to discuss one of the most important and yet overlooked skills in Pickleball that differentiates the good players from the average players, and the reason why so many people, especially those without tennis background, don't use it enough in their games. Yes, it's the split step. Also, even if you are doing split steps in your games, there's a good chance that you could be doing it wrong. So stay tuned, because I'm going to share with you everything I've learned about split steps and some of the challenges that I came across since I started learning it myself. I'm also going to discuss why split step is a lot harder than what most people think. Where and when should you use split steps? And at the end of this video, I'm going to show you an easy drill that you and your friends can do to practice getting better at split steps. But why is split steps so important? There are many benefits to doing split steps, but most importantly, split step can make you faster and more agile on the court, and it does so mostly in two ways. Firstly, the moment you land from the split step, your knees are already bent and your legs and feet are loaded like springs. It makes that initial movement after you land more explosive, therefore faster. Secondly, split steps can help you improve your reaction time. In fact, a study conducted back in 2013 has found that split steps actually helps to shorten players' reaction time in tennis by a significant amount. Now, apart from making you faster, I'll also share another reason why I found split steps so helpful. Something that people don't talk enough about, and I'll review that reason later on in this video. So you might be wondering, well, if split step has so many benefits, then why aren't there enough people doing it more, even if they understand the importance of split step? I personally believe that it's mostly because it's actually very hard to do split steps correctly. In fact, if you don't do it right, split steps can actually have the opposite effect on your game and slow down your movement instead of making you faster. So what exactly makes a split step so hard? It's the timing. Timing is by far the most difficult aspect of split step to learn and master, and it takes lots of deliberate practice and training to get it right. In fact, if you split step at the wrong time, you may end up slowing down your movement on the court, or at best, wasting your energy to achieve nothing. So what makes the timing so hard? To answer this question, I like to think through the sequence of events backwards. Let's first understand what the perfect timing should look like when you split step. At the most fundamental level, what we're looking to achieve with a split step is to land on your feet right at the moment you've recognized where the ball is going. And in order to achieve this, ideally, you want to be observing and judging where the ball is going when your feet are still up in the air. In a perfect world, you want to finish deciding where the ball is going when you're just about to land. So as soon as you do land, you're ready to push off your body towards the direction of the ball. But considering a typical split step only lasts for a fraction of a second, recognizing where the ball is going to go within this very short period of time is very challenging for most people, myself included. So what the really good players do is that they make use of the information before the opponent even hits the ball to anticipate which way the ball is most likely going to go. Factors such as opponent's body language, direction of the paddle face, opponent's stance, their swing pattern, where the ball is on the court, where the empty spaces are on their own side of the court, along with many other known tendencies. By combining all of these information leading up to the contact point, these good players can anticipate which way the ball will most likely go before the opponent even hits the ball. And by the time the opponent actually makes contact with the ball, that'll just be serving as a validation or confirmation of their prejudgment. This anticipation can really help significantly shorten their decision-making time. Of course, being good at anticipating the ball by itself is a very hard skill to learn, and it takes a lot of practice and experience to get good at it. And this brings us to the hidden benefit that I mentioned before about why doing split step is so important. And that is, for every shot, in order to time your split steps correctly, it really forces you to stay extra focused to track and observe the movement of the ball and your opponent's body. The more you do this deliberately in your training and games, the better you'll get at anticipating the ball and also timing your split step. So not only you'll get better at timing your split steps, but also you'll develop a good habit of always focusing on anticipating the ball for every single shot. If you time your hop too early, you'll end up wasting your energy and not achieving anything with your split step. If you time your hop too late, then you can slow yourself down as your feet might still be up in the air when you should be moving in the direction of the ball. Now, this brings perhaps the single most important question. When should you actually start your split step? So you may have heard the common advice by a lot of people that you want to start your jump as your opponent hits the ball. While this advice can be true and certainly works for some players, but I personally think this statement is a little too vague. In some cases, it can even be misleading for newer players. Why? Because everyone has a different reaction time. Some are faster, some are slower, and everyone is also different at how well they can anticipate the ball. Some people are better at anticipating the balls than the others. Some people prefer a higher hop, and some people prefer a very subtle hop. There's a lot of variables involved here, and I think it's more important that you go out there and experiment for yourself what works best for you based on your own tendencies and capabilities, because everyone is different. I recommend that as you experiment with the timing, rather than just focusing on when to start your jump, try to focus more on figuring out when you're able to recognize where the ball is going to go in relation to when your opponent hits the ball. Then keep making adjustments to when you start your hop until you're able to land your feet right after you make the judgment on where the ball is going to go. And that is going to be the right timing for you personally. For example, let's say on average, you're able to make decision on where the ball is going to go 100 milliseconds after your opponent hits the ball with their paddle. And let's say on average, your split step takes roughly 250 milliseconds to complete. That is from the start of the jump to when you land on your feet. So for you personally, in this example, you should time the start of your jump roughly 150 milliseconds before your opponent hits the ball. Now, this is not a practical way to keep track of your timing. So for me personally, instead of trying to time my jump exactly 150 milliseconds before the contact point, I try to pay attention to how far away the ball is from my opponent's paddle before he or she hits it. Then use that distance together with other factors such as the speed of the ball and the speed of the swing as a way of timing my jump. Let's watch this example from Annalie Waters. So here, Ben and Andre Daskew were engaged in a hands battle. Andre did a nice one-handed backhand punch volley at Ben, and Ben managed to get the ball back, but he did pop up the ball. Now pay attention to Annalie Waters' feet. As the ball starts to fall down to about Andre's head height, look at Andre's body language and his paddle position. He's leaning forward, arms sticking out with paddle head dropping down slightly. These were very strong signs that Andre was likely gonna backhand volley attack this ball. But Annalie also saw this, and she pushed off from the ground and started a split step in anticipation to counter this potential volley attack from Andre. However, Andre decided at the last moment not to volley the ball. Perhaps the ball was just a little too short for him to feel comfortable enough to volley it. Instead, he lets the ball bounce and gets his left hand behind the paddle, ready to do a two-handed backhand speed up. Then watch Annalie push their feet off the ground right here to start another split step in anticipation of this off the bounce speed up from Andre. Watch how far away the ball is from Andre's paddle when she started the split step. This is likely because she knew the paddle swing was going to be quite fast, since this was likely going to be a speed up, and the ball was also going to come at her fast too. So she needed to time her split step earlier than normal to allow her to land at the right time to counter this ball, which she did perfectly. You can see that right before she landed, she started moving her paddle to her backhand side. That was the moment she confirmed where the ball was going to go. As soon as she landed, she finished that two-handed backhand swing and countered the ball back to Andre. Like I said earlier, this is hard and will take a lot of deliberate practice, but be patient and disciplined with yourself. Over time, you'll develop a good habit of consistently doing it and doing it well eventually. And this is also something that I've been actively trying to work on in all of my drills recently. And here's a simple drill that I came up with in order to help my drill partner and I get better at timing the split step correctly. The idea is very simple. One person stands at the kitchen and the other person is at the transition zone. This is essentially a transition zone reset drill, except if you're the person in the transition zone, you need to force yourself to split step for every single shot, regardless of whether you actually need to move your feet to get to the ball or not. The idea here is to force yourself to get used to always split stepping every time. Now, when I'm doing this drill in the transition zone, I really try to focus on anticipating each ball and calibrating the timing of my split step each time, figuring out how soon after my opponent hits the ball I can accurately judge where the ball is going to go, then adjust the timing of when I start my jump accordingly. I also force myself to over-exaggerate my jumps At least for me, this bigger and more exaggerated movement allows my brain to remember it better. And since I'm relatively new to this, I think by jumping higher also forces me to jump earlier, allowing me a bit more time in the air to judge where the ball is going to go before I land. In a real game, the bigger jump also translates into the need of stopping my movement earlier in order to split step when moving through the transition zone, which I think at my level is a good thing. It's much better than stopping too late, because a lot of the time I get caught in the transition zone moving and I just fail to return the ball. And if you're the person at the kitchen during this drill, avoid killing the ball with full power. Instead, practice on controlling your shots. Improve your shot accuracy and placement. Vary between volley and off the bounce attacks. So this way, your partner can practice split step timing for both the volley or off the bounce hits. If you've gotten this far into this video, I just want to thank you for your time to watch this. If you found this helpful or entertaining in any way, I would really appreciate a small favor from you by hitting that like or subscribe button down below. Also, if you have any other tips on split steps, please share in the comments down below so others in the community can benefit from your experience too. That's all for now. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.